So, perfection sounds good, but really it's not. Um, Being honest, trying to be perfect is probably ruining your life. Um, Society tends to reward perfectionism. It being perfect sounds like this grand scheme because, oh, everyone wants to be like me and you have everything you want. But like being perfect doesn't really help that much. Because along with perfectionism come responsibilities and the expectation to always be perfect. Perfectionism, and being perfect tends to add hesitation and overthinking and information paralysis. You're all constantly thinking of different ways to be the best and be, you know, perfect. And really nothing will ever be perfect, but we have this sense of perfection that we've kind of curated. And perfection is different in everyone's mind. Everyone has their own sense of perfection and their own, desires and such. And the world never rewards perfect ideas. It rewards finished ones. There's no, you can have a great idea, a perfect idea, and you've thought all this time, put all this effort into thinking and trying to make it the best idea you ever could. But it, if it just stays an idea, it's not gonna do anything. It's not perfect. It's not gonna be anywhere. You need a finished product. If Apple had just stayed an idea, we probably would not have Apple phones, right? Because it would have just stayed an idea. It wouldn't have been an actual product. And the Apple phone, it took forever for it to get to where it was, right? It wasn't a success overnight. It took years and years of work and dedication and effort and failure for them to make a great product. And essentially, perfection is procrastination dressed up as standards, right? The desire to be perfect comes with, putting things off and like, oh, it's not perfect. I don't want to start anything. I don't want to, start it because it's not perfect. It's not ready. It's not done. And, I constantly struggle with this. I always put off things that I, wanted to do because they weren't perfect, right? They weren't something that I deemed as a high enough quality effort to, represent myself. And, personally, I used to live my head rent free because of this. I always just would be in my head and off put things because they weren't perfect. And it came down basically to trying to impress people. I wanted to impress my parents, my friends, strangers, people on the internet. I wanted to impress people because I wanted to be like my idols, like people who I saw who were successful. I wanted to be someone who my name was known, and I wanted the things that I do to always turn out great and people to praise me and give me, uh, awards and all that. And because I was trying to get this lifestyle, I would just live in my head constantly and not live life, I was always in my head trying to find this great plan and this great strategy, this grandiose strategy. And that's all I would do. I would just sit in my head and think. And I never do anything. I would just, as soon as any problem came up, I'd just give up and move on because it wasn't perfect. The idea wasn't completely solid and bound to be successful. And because it wasn't going to be successful, and instead of trying it and see if it would be successful, I had one little bit of doubt and I just gave up. And I always beat myself up over these failures, right? I always, if anything went wrong, I just beat myself up over it. If I got a B or a C on a test, I'd be upset and I'd just call myself stupid and then I wasn't, good enough. And if I got in trouble with my parents as a kid, I'd beat myself up that I wasn't perfect. And then if I was perfect, that wouldn't happen. At work, if I do something wrong and my boss comes to talk to me, even if it's like a small conversation of just, hey, this is what you should be doing, I take it personally, even when it's not personal and it's just I'm still learning. I take it to the extreme because I want to be perfect. I want to never be told that I'm wrong. And not in like an egotistical way, but in a way that I don't want to mess up. I want to just be in a constant space of being better and having the ability to never fail. I always copied people that I admired, influencers, gurus, especially. When I reached, high school, I saw all this stuff about drop shipping and copywriting and, SMMA and real estate and all this stuff. And I was like, man, these guys, they have it all. They got the girls, they got the money, the life, and they never showed their failures. At least not the big ones. Because why would they, right? They want to show you how good they are so they can sell you stuff. And I can't even begin to remember how many thousands I spent on courses and stuff because I wanted to be like them. I wanted to, have a bit of their success. I wanted a bit of the pot, even though the only work I put in was the money that I gave them. And I just measured my worth through external validation. I always seeked, getting things, money, attention, rewards, awards, all that stuff was external, right? I always seeked other people's validation. And it ended up giving me mental exhaustion. I was fed up. I got into a dark place, I had to go to see therapy and try to recover because I was just in such a place of seeing things and not being things and just only consuming and never producing that I just got in my head and I was only in my head. I never did anything externally. I never got all that energy and that desire and that creativity out. It just stayed in. And, as your parents and doctors have told you, bottling up is never good. But I did it for years and years and years. And being a perfectionist makes you self-absorbed. You're only ever concerned about yourself and being perfect and wanting and taking and getting, right? You're never worried about giving anything. And this is the same metaphor as bottling up, right? You're taking in all these ideas, these thoughts, this energy, these expectations, the reality. You're taking it all in, but never putting anything back out into the system. You're just taking. And it really, all of it boils down to the fear of being average. We see all these, these celebrities and these athletes and these influencers and these people online and in life even of how good their life is, right? When we perceive their life, outside looking in, we see it as something that looks amazing. We want a part of it. And we fear that being average and, not doing what they're doing and having what they're having will keep us average and will make us feel like we're not, anything special. And people want to feel special, people want that recognition, and we're scared of not getting it. And life in general is just built around status. And, having a certain status means you get certain, luxuries. But getting a certain status takes systems, right? It takes different steps. And a lot of the systems that got people certain statuses don't work for you. They don't work for anyone aside from the person that built them because they built them, right? And one of the people, they use the steps analogies and the stairs, and if someone builds a staircase, obviously everyone can go up it. But it's more so like building a staircase that is optimizes your exact metabolism and energy rate and leg height and shoe size, right? To optimize your efficiency the most. Sure, everyone can go up it, and it works, but it's only going to be the most efficient for the person that made it because it's theirs. They made it. They created it. It's the most efficient for them. And the social media, they amplify this idea of comparison, comparing yourself and wanting to be someone else. They blast your feed with celebrities and gurus and idols so that, you can just see how perfect their life is and you want to be it. And they create this ideal person, but the ideal person is fictional. It's nothing but a dream. It's nothing but something that we create as perfection so that we have something to strive for. you're basically just trying to fit into a mold that's designed for someone else. It's like shoving the square into the circle hole, you know, that old analogy. It's not going to work because it was never designed to work. And algorithms, they reward the extremes, right? All of these celebrities specifically were never, they were never a cookie cutter. They never, did anything that everyone else was doing. They always took a chance that really could have screwed them up, but it worked because they took the chance. They took the gamble. They had enough confidence in themselves as a person to be an outlier, right? You need to be authentic to, and be yourself and just go for it. Because following, a set plan and set system is never going to work. You're trying to compare yourself, your behind the scenes to someone's highlight reel, it doesn't work. You're never going to win the comparing someone else's best moments to your daily life. Status itself isn't evil, but chasing the status blindly is evil, right? You chasing something that you're not, able to achieve is just stupid. And it's not really to say that copying someone is bad, but trying to become that person is bad. Copying kills originality, and being original is so unique because you can only be original once, you can only have something once, right? Everything else after it is just a copy or an iteration that it will never be as perfect. And sure, maybe the original idea doesn't have, all the bells and whistles. Maybe it's perfect to someone, but not perfect to someone else. But, it's still the main idea. You can't copy someone and have it work out, right? There's two different people. Everyone's different. If you were to become them, right, and become exactly like them, you would just be them, You're always going to lose at someone else's game. If you were not there to design and make the game and know the rules and understand the process and the ins and outs, you're gonna lose. It's just how it is. It's just how it goes. The world does not need another version of them. It needs a version of you. You need to be you, not them. And really, copying, the only reason why people like to copy is because it's safe. It removes the sense of responsibility and the sense of failure. Because, if it doesn't work out, right? If the grand plan of someone else doesn't work out, they could just chalk it up to, they lied to me, they failed, they were just lucky, It removes the feeling of failure and that sense of, not being good at something. And that feeling sucks. No one wants to suck at things. And so they take the easy way and they do someone else's way, and it doesn't work out. And they're like, oh, it's bad, and they just take the safe route over and over again. They take the path that was paved for them. And the path being paved is great, it's easy, it works, it gets you to where you want to be. But is it really the most optimal? Chances are, in terms of, aside from typical transportation, it's probably not going to be the most optimal. You need to understand the value of just getting things done, even if they're not perfect, right? Action creates clarity. You need to understand that just doing something over and over and over again, smashing your head into a wall until you bleed, not literally, gets you results, right? You need to actually output instead of overthink. You need to take all those thoughts and just throw them out. You got to stop just trying to make the perfect plan, because the plan is never going to work if it just stays in your head. You need to put in the reps. And even if they're bad reps, even if you fail over and over again, they're still reps. You're still learning along the way. You learn faster from messy action compared to perfect planning. You need to do it. You're going to learn one way or another. And the best way to learn is to fail, because at least you immediately know that it doesn't work, right? If you, try to ride a bike and you fall over, it didn't work. But why didn't it work? If you were to, have a bike and have training wheels on, you might teeter, you might, feel a little wobbly, but the training wheels keep you from falling over. If you just get on that bike and fall over and scrape your knee, oh, That hurt. That sucks. Now you're in pain. But, it probably didn't work because you didn't balance. You didn't steer. You didn't pedal fast enough. You didn't have the momentum going. And that should be, your key to doing something. That you're going to scrape your knee. You're going to get hurt. It's going to suck. But at least you know immediately that it didn't work. You know to change something and do something better. Skill comes from iteration. Skill comes from doing things differently. If you do the same thing every time, it'll never work. It's never going to work because you're not trying something new. And, doing the embarrassing work is the tuition you pay for growth. Doing things that make you uncomfortable and are embarrassing and paint a bad light in your head is what you pay to get better. You have to struggle to get somewhere. So you need to get comfortable with failure and defeat. The feeling will never go away. You're never going to be comfortable with losing and failing and being defeated. You're just going to get better at carrying it. Failure feels like identity damage. It's personal. It hurts. It sucks. You're going to feel like you've been personally attacked when you fail. But it's just feedback, right? You know instantly that it didn't work, and it's the universe telling you it didn't work. You need to try something different. I have come to learn, and it took years. I mean, it took all of high school, all of college, and I'm 1 year out of college now, and I just learned that I would much rather fail now and know that I failed and understand that it didn't work than have something and try something and let it ride out and have to wait to know. I'm impatient. I really am. But it's because I want to know the feedback. I want to know what I can change to do better. I don't want to wait to have to change. I want to change now. And that's its own problem. But we're here to talk about perfectionism. So the first time you fail, especially publicly, is terrifying. It's going to suck. You're going to feel embarrassed. You're going to hate it. But after, the 10th time, it'll feel pretty damn normal. It's like getting A's, The first A you ever get is awesome. You get all this praise, all this, this tension. You feel good. You feel like you accomplished something. But, after the years of schooling you go through, and after constantly getting A's over and over again and showing that you can just do it and you've achieved it and you can constantly get A's, it's nothing new. You're used to it. You're okay with getting A's because that's just who you are. You've done it. You put in the work and you're at that level where getting A's is just normal. The same thing with putting effort in. You fail and the first failure sucks. It sucks. You feel bad and you hate it. You're not used to it, but you fail 100 times. You stop seeing it as an insult and start seeing it as feedback and as a little tip that, hey, what you did wasn't correct and it's not going to work. Try something new. And it really, being able to tolerate your emotions, it's a skill. You need to train this skill. You need to be exposed to it constantly. And most people quit because they cannot handle the feeling. They cannot handle being uncomfortable. And they can't stand it. And they don't necessarily lack the talent to do something. They just lack the ability to tolerate the feeling of uncomfortable, right? They don't want to go through the process and struggle and, go through the reps because they don't want to feel uncomfortable, right? It's the same thing with the gym. People don't want to work out because the first 2 weeks suck, right? You've gone to the gym and you've, hit chest, done bench press, done squats for me especially, right? I go do squats and I wake up the next morning and it hurts to walk, right? This fundamental thing of walking, I can no longer do because I just did one action and it sucks. But the more you do it, the more you get used to it and the less it hurts overall. So you need to, understand the feeling of not being satisfied. It's okay to not be satisfied, right? That's your fuel, right? Not being satisfied isn't a punishment, right? Not having what you want isn't a punishment. But, it should be your fuel to get what you want. Not being satisfied isn't always toxic. It's a signal for growth. You don't have something, go get it. Go do something for it. And the problem is when, dissatisfaction becomes self-hatred. Just because you're unsatisfied and you don't have something that you want and you're not, totally happy with how things are, you shouldn't treat it as self-hatred. You shouldn't treat it as, you just aren't perfect and you don't have everything you want and it's, there's nothing you can do because there is something you can do, right? And sure, it might be your fault, but that's okay that it's your fault because the fact that it's your fault means you can fix it. If something isn't your fault, it means you can't control it. It's out of your control. There's nothing you can do. But with something being your fault, you can control it. You know, you need to channel dissatisfaction into action, not ruination. All right. You need to just do something. If you're not happy, you don't have enough money, find a way to make money. Whether it's get a new job, learn a new skill, sell something, just do something to get more money. If you're not happy with how your body looks, instead of looking in the mirror every day and be like, man, I hate the way I look, go to the gym, struggle, put in the effort. You're going to be able to get to where you want to be. You just need to struggle for a bit. There's a difference between I can improve and I'm not enough, right? Understanding that you can improve means that there's room for growth. You understand that you're not who you want to be, but you can, and you're willing to go there. But saying I'm not enough, it just belittles you. It belittles your ability and your motivation to want to do something. And the saying I'm not enough is a closed-ended door, right? The door's closed. You're not leaving it open. It's locked. You're not giving yourself the out to go do something. And that's just, ruining your self-preservation. So essentially what I'm doing personally to, stop being perfect is I'm playing Minecraft. This whole video you see me play Minecraft, I've just been running around. And the reason why I've been running around is because I've been looking for the perfect spot. And Minecraft is teaching me how to not be perfect because I just need to stop trying to find perfection. And you know, it's Minecraft. I'm playing a mod pack too, and a mod pack is basically it's like a Terraria or not Terraria, a Stardew Valley kind of thing where it's money. I like money. I like economy and stuff. But the game Minecraft is low stakes. There's no real sense of failure, right? There's no one going to judge me. It's a single player world. No one's going to belittle me. I'm not going to put myself in a poor situation. I'm just, playing a game and having fun. Minecraft gives me the creative freedom to do things. I'm able to build whatever I want and I can do things. And sure, the mod pack has some constraints, but it's the ability to play around those and learn a different way of doing things and not just following, a system, being able to do something that's wrong in the eyes of the pack, but right in the eyes of me. And there's no pressure to do something. There's no friends of my friends telling me I'm doing something wrong and that their way is better. I'm just learning to enjoy the process instead of optimizing everything. I'm just doing it. I'm just playing the game. I chose its pack. I watched a little bit of videos on it. I'm just doing it. And I'm doing it also, this pack specifically, because it's got some constraints to not let me overwhelm myself with so much to do, but there's still a lot to do and there's still, a lot. And I also want to make my own mod pack, but I struggled with trying to be perfect and trying to make the perfect mod pack that I'll enjoy with my friends. And so this is helping me get ideas and, ways to do things, but not copy them and, come up with something better. So it's, it's helped me try new things. It's helped me be bad, bad on purpose. And it's helped me overcome the beginner mindset. I'm getting uncomfortable, right? I'm showing, myself doing this. I'm posting my Minecraft journey and my journey of trying to be imperfect because, I just need to do it. I'm sharing my imperfect ideas and my imperfect gameplay to show that it's okay to be imperfect and to put yourself out there. Because I'm sure there's going to be some people who are like, man, this guy sucks. You're playing the mod pack wrong. But, I'll take those comments and those ideas, and my friends may see this. I might send it to them, and be like, "Hey guys, what do you think?" And they may say, "Oh, this is so embarrassing. This is stupid putting yourself out there like that." But I'm getting a leg up in the sense of just being comfortable with being uncomfortable. And, I'm not copying anyone. I'm not doing some crazy mod pack. I didn't see any big YouTuber play this. I'm just doing something that I want to do. So, essentially what I want you to do and how to, be okay with not being perfect is I want you to lower the bar, right? Don't set your expectations high. Don't overwhelm yourself and try to be somewhere high. I want you to set, completion goals instead of quality goals. Set a goal that you know you can complete that's stupid easy, right? Hell, you could just literally be getting out of bed by 10 a.m., by noon. Something easy you know you can do, you just haven't done, right? Because you're, too overwhelmed. Set something that won't overwhelm you that's just easy. And I want you to also do things publicly before you feel ready. And this doesn't mean like telling everyone, "Oh, I'm gonna start waking up, at noon every day." It's just, do some changes. Make a YouTube channel, make a blog, make an email, make just something. Post on social media. Share your progress with, I wouldn't say your friends necessarily. That's not because, well, I am a little scared of how they think, but your friends may feel obligated to, you know, give you the wrong idea or the wrong impression and not give you blatant answers. The internet doesn't care. They'll tell you if you're doing something wrong. They'll tell you if they hate you. The internet is, they don't care. They really don't care. So just do things publicly before you feel ready. And this, you don't even have to do things publicly. It's more so just do things before you feel ready in general, right? You want to go work out instead of making the perfect workout plan. Like I've been trying to make this workout plan. I just need to go, right? I just need to go to the gym and start doing it. It doesn't matter if it's well optimized for my body type, whatever. I just need to go to the gym and figure out the rest later. I just need to lift the damn weights. And you need to reflect on yourself instead of attacking yourself. Understand that doing something wrong is okay. And that you just need to learn more instead of, you know, trying to know it all at once. You're not going to know everything at once. You need to fail to understand. So just reflect and understand that failure is okay and you can learn from it. And, you need to separate identity from output. Just because you see someone doing so much better doesn't mean you can do the same, right? Just because they can rip out, you know, 50 reps of a set and working out. And I'm going to keep using this workout rep, the workout analogy just because it's what I'm into right now. But just because they can do it doesn't mean you can, because you're not them. You haven't been working out for years. You just need to understand that your output is going to be different and you're at a different level from someone else. You need to build proof that you survive imperfection. You need to tell your brain that, hey, I can't do it yet, and that's okay. That's okay that I can't do it, because I will be able to do it. I can understand that I will be able to do it eventually, but not right now. Right now, I need to, be at the lower part. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be you. The pressure to be perfect is universal. Everyone feels the pressure of trying to be perfect. We see it all around us. Celebrities feel it. Your friend feels it. Your parents feel it. Your kids, if you have them, feel perfect. Maybe your dog feels perfect, wants to be feel perfect too. I don't know. Go talk to him or something. But everyone has the same stressor of wanting to be perfect. But the freedom to be imperfect is rare, right? Being able to not be perfect, being able to fail and be okay with it, being able to not live up to standards is rare. Not everyone has the ability to be a comfortable or, have the social structure around them to support that. And so being able to get comfortable with doing it and just build, an environment where it's fine is rare. And doing that already sets you ahead of the rest, right? You're already more perfect trying to be imperfect than people who are trying to be perfect, Most people are trapped trying to impress people who aren't really thinking about them, right? I got this friend who's, trying to flirt with a girl who genuinely does not care about them. I'm sorry. They do not want to talk to them. And would I be a good friend telling them, hey, dude, they don't like you. They don't fuck with you. Sure. But like, they just put in so much effort that I kind of want to see them fail and get turned down because it'll help them. And you know, I'll be there for them for the pickup, right? I'll be there to help them and motivate them to do something else. But it you just need to think about yourself, and not in an egotistical way, but in a way of trying to improve yourself to give to others and give something to this world and not just consume, you know? So being perfect isn't about, you know, control. It's about growing. And growth is courage. And there's not much courage these days. So just, there's one thing you take from this video: go fail at something. Go be really bad at something and smile about it. Be okay with being terrible. Go, I don't know, fall off a bike. Go trip up some stairs. Go write a book and have your friends make fun of you for it. Go tell a joke and have a crowd in silence, right? Go understand that something you're doing is not working, and then go learn why it wasn't working and how to fix it.